Hello everybody, this is Roy. We're doing a little bit of Kerbal space program. I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar, but it's kind of like a NASA simulation program, or I guess any type of, well, for whatever country space program. So let's get into it. You can see we have our Kerbals here, and I think this is Kerbin, their planet. And they're gonna be our astronauts. Yes. Anyways, so you can build space planes in the space plane hangar, vehicle assembly buildings where you build your spaceships. This is where you lounge, and this is where you keep track of them. I don't think I have anything going right now. You can see, actually, I have some debris circling the atmosphere right now. Well, ignore that. We're just causing planet pollution. So this is me just testing my sound level, so we're gonna get rid of that. And this is how you start. You pretty much start by picking a cockpit. And I'm not sure. Now you can see they have different, do they have different stats? This one has a crew capacity of 3. This one 1, but it has better SAS torque, meaning it can stabilize better. This one has a crew capacity of 3 as well, and this one has 1. So actually, just since I know we're gonna kill some people, let's minimize our losses and get this cockpit, since it only allows us to hurt one at a time. And there's a new version released recently which added all these little guys, and this is still very much in a alpha stage, I believe. Could be beta, but it's actually pretty stable. They're doing a good job. You can pre-order it if you go to their website. You can just Google search Kerbal Space Program, and I'm sure you'll get there. And there's also a lot of other videos that you can watch, and with a lot of people that have a lot more experience than me. Anyway, so this is our cockpit, and it's good. It's pretty much our foundation. So we have to build off of this to create a spaceship that'll hopefully reach the space atmosphere or the moon, or I believe there's a planet that we can target as well. Right now, let's just kind of see how things work, and maybe we can figure out what it's gonna take us to get to space. That's gonna be our goal for today, just to get to this, just to break atmosphere and get to maybe outside of the Earth gravitational pull. As you can see over here, we have a lot of tanks, and some of these are new. I haven't really played with all of these. Let's see. We have different types of fuel tanks and different types of engines that use those fuel tanks. We also have, I believe, this solid fuel boosters are kind of older style rockets. I don't think we're going to be using many of these, but as you can see, we can select our thrusters, we can attach it, and we can also add things like nose cone, so we get, well, that's a little bit big, nose cone, so we're a little bit more aerodynamic. But you don't have to use a nose cone. I believe there's also parachutes you can use, and everything that you put on there has a little bit of weight, so it adds drag to our takeoff. And okay, this is probably the simplest ship I can build right now, so why don't we give that a shot and see how far we get. And you can see I have some debris over there, and it takes a little bit for it to load and render everything. You can see it's a bit choppy, and then it gets super smooth. So to take off, we just hit spacebar. Normally, I think you want to turn on SAS from the get-go, so you don't have your rocket swaying and bobbing. So, as you can see, we don't weigh much, so our little guy is flipping out because of all the thrust. boost that we're giving him, which isn't too bad. So many G-force, how much G-force is being applied to our little guy. And you can see it's going up and up because we're like taking off right now. And we're out of fuel. So yeah, once you're out of fuel, you kind of start slowing down. And I doubt we're gonna get any place far. As you can see, our speed is decelerating quite a bit. You can see the sun over there. I think you can normally see the moon. But we can also check out our map, and if we zoom in here, we can see our arc of descent. So we're gonna end up somewhere in the middle of the ocean. Well, not the middle, but somewhere in the ocean. And we can zoom out. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. This is the moon, or moon, and I don't know how do you pronounce that. And then if we look around, that's the Minmus. That's the planet I was talking about. We zoom out even further. You can see this is the orbit that we have around the sun. And I think that's pretty much all there is right now. So we can aim for the moon, or aim for here, but as I mentioned earlier before, today we're just going to concentrate on seeing how much it takes to actually get out of Earth's orbit. And once you're not accelerating, you can actually fast forward. Oh, I guess you can't if you're within the atmosphere. But that'll make some things a little bit faster. And I think we can deploy our parachute? Okay, maybe I have no idea how to deploy a parachute. Deploy, deploy, deploy. I'm just hitting random buttons right now. I thought it was just spacebar. Engage. And then I think we're just gonna plummet to Earth. As you can see, our miles per second. Oh, we're still. Is that right? It says we're decelerating. So it must be the drag from the wind. No, I have no idea how to deploy a parachute, so I think our little guy is gonna have a not so gentle landing. See, I'm still hitting random buttons here. Auto camera, free cam, orbital. Leave it at free. Yeah, that's not gonna be pretty. Sorry, guy. My parachute survived, I think. Alright, so we knew that was gonna happen. Our little friend is gone. So let's go back to the vehicle assembly. Alright, so here's our ship. Like I said, we don't want to use this. We're gonna take that out. I guess I'll leave this there, even though I have no idea how to work it. So one of the first things we want to add is we'll add a decoupler. And what this does is it lets us release anything under here. So at the end of the flight, when we're ready to come back down to Earth, we shouldn't have anything except for the cockpit and our parachute, because everything below this will get released during flight. So then we want to have, I guess if we're just going out to space, we got to test out our rockets here. So we have this engine right here. We're going to be using liquid fuels, and these are the liquid fuel engines. And right now we just want to see how much it actually takes for us to get to orbit. So let's give ourselves quite a bit of fuel. So I think this is half a tank, or this is double what this is in weight and everything. So we're gonna put in, let's try 4 of these. And we have this engine. I think this is one of the new ones, which is freaking huge. And I don't think that'll work well with our little setup we have here. And we have this engine. I think all the other ones are kind of for space flight. So we don't want to worry about that right now. We just want to leave orbit. So it's going to have, it comes down to one of these two right here. This one has a max thrust of 215. This one has a 200. And this one weighs less, which is a plus. And I believe this one we can has better SAS abilities, or we can adjust better than this one. Which was this thrust vectoring. But right now we're just worried about raw thrust, so we'll pick this one. Alright, so we have 4 of these double stack fuel engines, or whatever they call them, the T400s. And I think something that's also new is this guy right here, which is a launch stability enhancer. So what, hold on, I think I can zoom in out of here a little bit. So what this does is it actually allows us to get a little bit of, to not have the rocket just sitting on the ground. Instead it'll sit halfway up or wherever we place it. I'm not sure if 1 is enough, but we have this little symmetry tool here that we can use to actually symmetrically place the same object in however many points we select. So we'll do 3. I like how that looks. Looks very cool. Alright, so let's see. We have 4 fuels and 1 thruster, and we'll see how much acceleration we get from that. Because I mean, the more fuel that we have, the farther we can get, but the heavier we are. So eventually this becomes counterproductive. So one thing that you can do is you can, with Control and Shift, you can adjust your throttle when you have the liquid fuel engines. So we're gonna hit max because we just want the raw power. We're gonna get out of here. And of course, the more throttle you have, the more fuel you waste. So let's hit our spacebar and begin our flight. And I forgot to turn on SAS. And sometimes you do have to adjust your rocket a little bit, the pitch and the roll and the jaw. We're getting okay acceleration right now. I think anything more than 4 of these might be counterproductive. We'll see how far we get. As you can see, we already used up one of the tanks. So right now it's just basically dead weight. We still have these 3 other fuel tanks giving our little engine some power. Now we have 2 that are basically dead weight, and 2 of these that have actual fuel. I believe they do weigh less once they're empty. I'm not 100% sure on that though. And we're getting really good acceleration. If we look at our map view here, you can see that we're getting up quite a bit. Just hit orbit. Of course, we're not orbiting the planet because we're going straight up and down. If you look at our arc right here, we're getting higher and higher. But we're almost out of fuel. So at least we know that we can get to orbit with 4 rockets. Once we're out of fuel, I can use my decoupler. And now we can detach our command cockpit. But we can't really do anything else. We're just gonna basically go up and then go down. Well, we can look at our map over here and you can see we're gonna reach an apex of 744,000 meters, and then we're gonna start heading downwards. So one thing you can do is, once you're not accelerating anymore and you're out of orbit, you can warp. So we're going 400 times normal speed right now. You can see we're just hit our apex and we're going downwards now. And this is our speed coming down into Earth. So let's slow back down. And I think I want to get down a bit. I thought that with spacebar you just deploy your parachute. Unless it automatically does it. Alright. So we're not in the atmosphere anymore. Now we're technically in the surface. So there we go. So now we can deploy our parachute. And once we hit a certain speed, I think this will deploy and slow us down. Okay, slowing us down. Can't do much more right now. But before we hit the surface, I'll show you guys something that's also new in this. Another new feature that we have is that we can actually have our little spaceman Bob here get out of the spaceship and say, for where oh, there's the moon. Moon. And there's our parachute deploying as we hit the water like a brick. Just a moment of silence for our homie Bob. Alright. So, let's end our flight. Go back to the vehicle assembly. So now we know this is enough to kind of get us into space. But now what do I want to do is, let's get rid of this for a minute. To get rid of it, just let it go inside the menu area here. Let's hover that there. Let's get rid of this part. Let's set a half a tank right here. And we'll add another fuel booster here. And I think we can use this guy as well. Let me turn on symmetry. I don't know if this is enough, or I never really use these things, but also help us stabilize once we're out of the atmosphere. We can add winglets, I believe these guys. And while we're climbing and we're inside the atmosphere, this will actually let us navigate using the wind resistance. But we don't have to worry about that right now since we're going straight up. So we have half a fuel tank there. Okay, so we know this, well, 4 of these is basically enough to get us out of there, out of the atmosphere. But I think we're gonna, since I want this additional stuff here, we might need a little bit more power. So I'm gonna use this tricoupler. I'm gonna set us up with symmetry of 3, and then I'm gonna put 3 of these. Since we know 4 will get us out of there, we're gonna have 3 so we can compensate for the extra weight. But now we have 3 thrusters down here. Another thing, when you start putting long fuel line or fuel stacks like this, they're not attached to anything, they're just kind of their own thing. So you want to add a strut connector here, and here, to keep these guys from swaying around. And since I have symmetry on, this will connect all my stacks together. And then, what do I want here? What is this? I guess to climb it? I don't know. There's a lot of new stuff that was added, and right now I have no idea what they are, so we'll figure it out. Alright, what do we have here? We have this, we got that. We just need our launch, what are these? Stability enhancers. Alright, so let's zoom out a little bit. And using shift and the scroll wheel, we'll place this around there. Alright, so I think this is gonna be enough to get us out of the atmosphere, hopefully, and let us fly around a little bit using this part, just our cockpit. This is basically a decoupler, so we can, once our fuel is done down here, we can just let go of that, and we can use this thruster and this fuel to fly around a little bit. And I think this is called, I should have paid attention when I put it on there, RCS thruster block, and I think you enable that with R. So we'll find out what happens in a bit. I don't like how this looks right now, but I'm not gonna worry about it. Let's do a test launch. Actually, let's name our ship. I'll call it the Trigun Mark 1. We'll save it. And I'm hoping, I think this should be enough to get us out. If not, we might need to add another stack of fuel for these guys. But I think this can get us up high enough so that we can use this to escape Earth's gravity. So let's try it. Go for a launch. We'll clear out our old debris. It takes a second to load. Once you see everything kind of jump and you start hearing the engine sounds, that means we're good to go. We'll turn up our thrust, our throttle, and let's go. Oops. Let's turn on our SAS as well. And again, I'm using the ASDW keys to keep stable. Us in a straight up trajectory at least. Our first fuel tanks are pretty much done now. On our second ones. I think. Actually, do you guys see this right here? Looks like our thruster is blue. So we're actually using up all of our fuel at this moment. And we're going out of control as well. So let's turn off SAS. Sassy little Kerbal. Let's try to straighten this up. This isn't going as well as I hoped. I think it has to do with this guys going off at the same time. Alright, let's and we can't decouple. Excellent. Alright, so let's end our flight. Let's go to the vehicle assembly line. So I think basically what happens, this is our first stage or last stage, however you want to call it. So we need to add another one. We basically want to move this down here. What's this? Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm not sure what I'm selecting at the moment. Oh, those are our struts, so we'll move those down there as well. We want our engines down here. Those we want up there, that we want up there. Fuel, we want everything except this one. So we'll move those to our second stage, or whatever we call that, I'm not sure. Okay, this is all we want on our last stage, basically. Or whatever we call this. And everything down here, except for those guys. Do I want to make another one? So first we're going to decouple these guys, and they'll let us fly. Then everything here will decouple second. And then this will be our last line of defense, basically. Alright, so let's say go back to our launch pad. Turn on, well, wait for it to load. Turn on SAS. Turn our throttle up. And we did it. Alright, did I forget our engines or something? Abandon ship. And he made it. We can walk around and jump. It's not so impressive in Earth's gravity or Kerbal gravity. And he's dead. No. Alright, let's end our flight. Go back to our vehicle assembly. Why didn't this work? So maybe this has to be part of this as well? It doesn't make too much sense to me, but let's see what happens. Alright. Give it a second. And alright. So far so good. SAS. So I might want to add some winglets to help us stabilize. Everything seems to be working fine. But I think this might have to be part of our last stage too, I'm not sure. Figure it out in a minute. She had like a turbo thrust. Okay, we're still stable, we're steady. I think this had a lot to do with our little problem on our first stage, or our first try. You can see our velocity is way up there. Once we release all of this, we're going to keep that velocity. And we're going to lose a lot of mass, so I'm hoping. Let's straighten out a little bit. Straighten it up. Now we're just about out of fuel. Okay, that didn't work. So I believe this decoupler does have to be part of that stage. So to let go, activate, and then we can run. Because right now we have our little engine right here pulling all of this stuff. And that's not so good. It's alright. We know what our problem is, so let's go back to the vehicle assembly. We have to move this guy. And select, deselect these, zoom out, make sure we're selecting what we want, and we have to put it right. Can we move these guys up? Control. Okay, so that's Last thing, engine. We got that stuff. Good. And I think from what I saw, man, I think this is gonna be enough to get us up. So we'll try it. If we don't make it, then we'll try again on the next episode. Alright, let's do it. I think this is gonna work. I feel good. A little Kerbal man's gonna make it to space. He's gonna be the first Kerbal up in space. And we'll look like we're up to Shadme. Sorry, Bob. Sorry, all the brave Kerbal astronauts that we lost. But it's part of the job, right? Let's turn on SAS. Let's hit our throttle. Doing good. So far, so good. Just a little bit. We're up to 200 miles per hour. Our G-force is on the green, so our little Shadme guy isn't passing out or anything. Alright. Adjusting well. Looks like SAS is doing its job. Moving up, moving up. I think we're doing good. On our last fuel tank for our first stage. It didn't work again. Come on, man, activate. Wish I could manually activate it. It doesn't seem like I can. Either way, let's see how far we get. Even with pulling all this stuff. Oh man. Luckily there's no fuel in here, otherwise this might explode on us. You can see we're decelerating, even though we have our full thrust here, because this, again, this isn't strong enough to be pulling all this. It was only meant to be pushing this guy, but you see we're already in the atmosphere, or we're leaving the atmosphere. So let's turn our RCS, see if we can stabilize a little bit. And I think we can fast forward a bit, so we can see how far we get. And looks like we're heading down now. Sorry about that. And sorry, Mr. Shadme. I don't think you're gonna make it. Let's just turn off our engine now. We'll silently head to our demise. I'm sorry if there's any cities down there. Actually, let's just... Oh, our parachute deployed. Oh, we might have survived that. Sorry, bud. Ah! blood. Wow, he like totally disintegrated. Where's our... We might see our debris fall in here quietly. I think if we hit and go to our map, can double click on here. Oh, no, that's it. Well guys, that was a Kerbal space program. We'll see you next time.